Hi, Dale coming to you from my garage again. Every Christmas, I put out my Christmas lights and my Christmas decorations. And every year during heavy rains, I trip a GFC somewhere. Now that's a good thing. It means my house is wired properly, but it's a pain and it really aggravates me. I do have several of these. These work really well. The problem with them is they only connect inline cord connections, but they do protect them very well. What I need is a way to have a power strip where I can plug in multiple and have those protected. I do have some of those yard rated plugs on a stick that protect from the weather. The problem with those is one, they're expensive. They're usually $10 to $15. Two, there's generally only 3 plugs per each set. I need more than that. I need a lot more than that. I put out a lot of lights. I do realize that there are some that have 6, but those are even more money. And 3, I've even had those trip breakers on me before. So I am looking for a way to do this where I am just safe from the weather. In this video, I'm going to show you how I tackle the problem basically for free, using completely scraps and wood that's laying around the garage that I would have normally thrown out. And because I'm making it myself, I can make it any size I want to house however many plug connections I need. All right, let's get the lawyer portion of this out of the way. I'm not an electrician, and this is in no way a course on how to do anything with electricity. This is just what I'm going to be doing. You can make up your own mind on what you think you should do. The way I figure it, worst case is I still trip a breaker. No big deal. But really, if it really doesn't work and I electrocute myself, maybe I end up with a really cool superpower. Let's get started. Come on. The first thing I do is go around my garage and collect several small scraps. This box is going to be kind of the coat of many colors box, as I'm using some 3/4 inch scrap plywood, 1/2 inch scraps, some scrap pine boards, and some scraps from my Halloween graveyard entry project. I start by cutting all the pieces of the box to size. I'm going to make mine big enough to hold 2 6-plug power strips. I'll make just the box now, and I'll make the cover for it later. I cut the bottom, 2 sides, and 2 end pieces on my table saw, utilizing my crosscut sled for all crosscuts. My next step is to take the 2 end pieces and tape them together securely. Then, using my drill press and a 1.5 inch Forstner bit, I drill 3 half circles on the top of both pieces. Taping them together allows me to do this at the same time. This is where the cords are going to be able to come into the box. I guess I could have also drilled full circle holes in the middle of the board and then ripped them in half to size. Do it whichever way you like. It's your song. I'm just dancing to it. Now, using glue and brad nails, assemble the box. I'm using Titebond 2 glue because that's what I have on hand. Because this is going to be outside in the elements, Titebond 3 would have been a better choice, but I didn't want to run to the store just for glue. The key thing here to remember is to have the half circles in the end pieces toward the top of the box. On to cutting all the pieces for the top. I realize this crosscut is a bit of a risk, but I practiced it several times with the blade down and it was sliding very smoothly. If you're uncomfortable with this type of crosscut on a table saw, then don't do it. Instead, use a miter saw or a circular saw. My crosscut jig is not big enough for this piece. Key thing to remember when cutting the pieces for the top is that you should add about 1/4 inch space on each of the long sides and about 3/4 inch on each of the ends. This will make it much easier to put the top over the bottom and still give plenty of room for the cords to fit in through the end pieces. I think this will make much more sense in a bit when you see it put together. Assembling the top is much like assembling the bottom, using glue and brad nails. I gotta say, Even though I should be using a waterproof glue like Titebond 3, this Titebond 2 glue does make for a nice mid-project snack. Again, assemble the cover so that it overhangs the sides by about 1/4 of an inch on each side and overhangs the ends by at least 3/4 of an inch on each end. The final step in building this weather-protected box is to cut small blocks for legs and attach them with glue and brad nails. This will keep the box off the ground a little, which will add a little more protection from the weather for the cord connections inside the box. Now to test how the cord management will work. I take a 6-plug power strip and I place it inside the box. I then hook power to the strip from one end of the box, as well as plug another cord into the strip and feed it out the other end. Now placing the top cover over the box proves to be quite easy. The overhang on the ends give the cords plenty of room to run down the box between the box and the cover without kinking. This could be the first of my projects that come out exactly as I planned from the beginning. Who'd have guessed? Now you can see how the cover overhangs the box and extends down most of the box sides. Now, when it rains, the water will flow off the top and down the sides of the cover, never having a chance to make it into the box, keeping the contents very dry. Since this is for Christmas lights, you could paint it like a gift box so that it would actually become another decoration in your yard. I plan on using this for Christmas and Halloween, so I'm going with black so that it basically disappears in the yard. I give it a couple coats of flat black paint and then several coats of polyurethane. I went fairly heavy with the poly and didn't really worry about streaking or drips. I focused on coverage for protection. Now to give this a test. I took the box to my yard and placed a few tissues in it, figuring that would make it even easier to see if even a little bit of water was getting in. I then turned on the hose and started to spray the box. I sprayed it for a good 6 to 8 minutes and even sprayed a hard stream at the base of the box to try to get some splash to go into the box. After I was done with the spraying, I checked the inside of the box and was very happy to see it was perfectly dry. There was a small drop that dripped in from the cover while I was removing it, but nothing from the hose. Forecast was for rain tonight, so I thought I'd leave it out all night for an even better test. It didn't rain, forecast was wrong. It snowed in Atlanta before Christmas, and it snowed hard. Measuring the depth on my table on my deck, it was a full 7 inches. Very, very rare for us. The box was covered with snow and the top was ice stuck to the bottom, but after giving it a couple smacks, it broke free no problem. I was very, very happy to see a dry box on the inside. I'm calling this a success, and this is what I'm going with for this year. As you could see, after sprinkling this with the hose, spraying it hard for several minutes, leaving it outside all night, getting buried in a heavy snow, once I took the top off, there wasn't a drop in there. It worked great. You may have seen maybe a drop or two on the inside from the video, but that happened when I was taking the lid off, some dripped in. Other than that, I think this is going to work awesome. I should be able to get 2 of those indoor cheapo $2 power strips into this box. That's great because I can run 2 cords into the box, each from a different circuit. Now I have 12 different plugs to feed my light display. That's going to be great. Now I've watched a lot of lawyer shows on TV, so I feel that I must tell you again, I am not an electrician. Don't take this as an electrician course. As a matter of fact, all the people that want to go ahead and flame me for what I'm doing, write those in descriptions. I'll let you know after the season how this goes because I know that we're good for one more snow and several rainstorms. I think it's going to be safe, but you make up your own mind. If you like this video, give it that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future projects. And I was looking at a really old electrician's code book, and I saw that as long as this gets 100 shares, I am 100% guaranteed that it will pass inspection and will never trip a breaker. So come on, share the video, I'd appreciate it. With that, I'd like to end the year by thanking all you that have watched, and from my family to yours, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Winter Solstice, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus, Happy Three Kings Day, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and in case I missed something, which I probably did, simply be happy. Until next time, see ya.